heartbeat. Forgot to look beyond, I see the other side. So give me a light, show me what I need. I know I'm blind, but I hear symphonies of your heartbeat. Now that's an understatement. To walk alone, I guess it's my repayment. Please give me a light, show me what I need. I know I'm blind, but I hear symphonies of your heartbeat.
Just another sunny day in Southern California. It's where the people came to play. Don't let them transform you. Come and see what you've been missing on a little slice of heaven. It's the only place we're living. It's that
know you're the worrying kind. Is there any way, or do you like not being found? In time the light will fade. Don't you know I worry about you all the time?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Zotac Cup Valorant powered by Nvidia, LG Ultragear, Crucial and Corsair. Today, we have an interesting best of three lined up for you, but I think the interest actually lies in the details because we're going to get to see a map that we don't really get to see that often, and we're going
Yeah.
to get to see names that are almost like household names in our region of the world. Let's just hope that they're able to send it and end it because boy, oh boy, this best of three is gonna be spicy. So, all things said and done, aggressive. It's still the weekend, man. How you feeling? I mean, the weekend
Yeah,
just got over, so how you feeling?
it's the Monday blues, but I do believe that if you're gonna get to watch a game of Valorant, we are all gonna be happy, especially this game in front of your screen. Let's head on down over to today's fixtures, see what's up with both of these squads. And in that sense here, OG, when you consider Team Exploit versus Enigma, now the Southeast Asian qualifiers have already gone through. The teams that are going to be moving forward on towards the quarterfinals have already been selected. And that's the thing here. That's what we really always want to see. Both of these regions finally going up against one another. And the first contender from South Asia are going to be pushing their way up, possibly from this initial matchup. So let's head on down over towards today's matchup, see exactly who's going to be playing. And just as I stated, it will be Enigma Gaming versus Team Exploit. Now, Team Exploit, who are they exactly? They are the best team in the entirety of Pakistan. And Enigma, they're territorying around the top three. It's always GE, Velocity, and Enigma. We always know this. We know for a fact how strong this team is, and potentially they are literally could be the best, and they can take down Velocity and GE. And now with the recent addition of Excali into their roster, it feels as though this team could be unstoppable when it comes to their raw firepower.
Yeah, dude, I'm getting flashbacks to maybe towards 2016, 2017, when the members of Team Exploit were just able to play in Indian tournaments with like 150 ping. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to today when they're going to be on an even standing. So let's quickly head on over to the brackets, ladies and gentlemen. So we get to paint an overall picture as to what the journey for these teams are going to look like today. Like you said, Aggie, we're gonna have Enigma taking on against Exploit. Now, the winner of Enigma versus Exploit is then going to go to face Kingsman.
Their match, dude, was insane. I swear to you not, Fulton versus Kingsman was a roller coaster of emotions.
Yeah, and I think we did get to see the best of one matchup from Full Sense, and I was impressed by them off the bat. So the fact that Kingsman did take that the matchup away from them 2-1, that's impressive in and of itself. So for right now, for Enigma and Team Exploit, they're just going to be playing this one to make sure that one of them has a safety net so that they do not get relegated all the way down to that lower bracket run. Because, sure, you might have that second life in the tournament, but that second life is going to be stressful. There's just going to be no chills throughout the rest of your journey if you want to take the throne.
Yeah, this is not going to be an easy one for Team Exploit in general because whenever we consider statistics, Team Exploit, they are going to be running into the deep end pretty much because we know for a fact over and over again throughout the entirety of the Gauntlet seasons, the previous tournaments that were being played as well.
Yep.
Exploit, even though they are an incredible roster, they have a player like Shooter on their side. It's still just not gonna be enough to take out something like Enigma. And this is old Enigma that we're talking about. New Enigma with the addition of Excali is a completely different roster. Their playstyles have changed. They're a lot more aggressive. They're taking gunfights all around multiple different corners. And they as a team, they were known to be the strategic squad. The squad that you would be looking forward to whenever a new map comes out, maybe a new map change, maybe a new agent. They were always the ones to integrate it straight up into their meta strategies as much as they possibly could. Now, though, this roster is still having that similar identity with the players that they do have on their side, but now that Excali is here, before they always had that firepower in the form of raw fuel. Raw fuel would just dive into a side, he's gonna frag out of his mind, and that's it. But the thing with raw fuel is that he's normally going in solo. There's no one really following him to be as aggressive as he could be. Now that Excali's here on the roster, it feels to be a lot more well-rounded because Raw Fuel finally has a buddy behind him who's just as crazy as him, if not much more crazier. So in that sense, we know for a fact that Enigma, they're going to be the team that we're always going to be looking forward to. But we are talking about the teams a little bit here. So why not head on down over into their team intro and see exactly which team we have for team number one.
So, with all that being said and done as well, I feel like with this roster of Enigma Gaming, sure, it has more firepower, like you said, right? It seems like the pieces fit together. But the only question is, has the timing clicked? Usually, regardless how good the rosters are, it requires synergy, it requires that kind of chemistry to chime in. Hey, it matters that these guys are ex teammates, cool. But consider this, how much difference is there going to be in terms of play style? How much difference is there going to be in terms of communication? Mind you, there was also Antidote and Amaterasu who were
Yep.
the original members of that very dominant first VLT squad. So it's going to be history and a lot of past in this roster. Doesn't mean that it's going to be a very successful roster. That's only going to be dependent on how much work it's going to be put in. And sometimes, even though you might put in all the work, the reward just doesn't seem to come. You can just pray and hope. And this should be a nice testament to their skill, right? It's also a nice benchmark for them. Let's see if Enigma Gaming now in this position are able to take it against Team Exploit, because Team Exploit as well, they've been looking really solid for the past few weeks that I've been trying to get an eye on them. It's not going to be an easy task whatsoever for Enigma.
Not in the best of spots just yet. Just as you stated, it's going to be difficult. It's going to take a lot more for them to properly turn it all around. But I do believe, honestly, at this point, Enigma, they're in a pretty good spot. They can always adapt, they can always learn, and they can be even better. But moving on down the line from that, let's talk about the side of Team Exploit as we pull up their own team intro. Because just as you stated, this roster has been making a massive name for themselves throughout not just our scene, but the entirety of Southeast Asia and South Asia as a whole.
Yeah,
King, Soulmate, Shaka, HSB, and then there's Shooter Man. Normally, there's always jet players that we call to be demons. There's SK Rossi for the entirety of India, but Shooter, he's like the pride of the entirety of Pakistan. This guy, when he's on his jet and he's having a decent day, not even a good day, mind you, OG, a decent day, it feels as though he's a headshot machine and he's magnetizing towards the head of his opposition.
just got to be wondering what he drinks when he does wake up in the morning. Sometimes,
We need that.
yeah, sometimes you get to see these incredible plays and you're like, how do I get close to this? How do I even replicate or mimic this? Well, it's all down to teamwork, it's all down to practice. And we know that these players practice in and out, right? It's not only maybe in the
Mhm.
server, there's a lot of aim labs behind it. And hey, if not aim labs, if not Valorant, there are prior FPS titles that these men have contested in, have competed in, and also enjoy. So that also comes to add into the tally. And you made a topic about the Jet, right? So historically speaking, both Jet and Rena are two duelists that not only try to equate your skill ceiling with your kill ceiling, but it
Mhm.
enables you to make far more impact than any other agent. So, how
Yep.
does this translate into the draft now? Because if I'm not mistaken, this could be a head to head where the drafts are not going to be similar, which, considering that what we've gotten to see from the Zotac Cup, we've gotten to see a lot of identical drafts go head to head, right? So, on the back of my mind, I'm going to assume that this draft is going to be slightly different, where Enigma might go for A and it might be a completely different strategy employed by Team Exploit. So, talking about the agents, now, where do you find Warmth here aggressive?
In my eyes, I do believe it's going to be very map dependent, and I do think that the double initiator composition will still reign supreme in multiple different fronts. There's no way the double initiator is not going to be one of the primary pickups for both of these teams, and I do believe that Breach will be pretty much the most contested pickup out of everything.
Yeah.
Breach on all the maps, like we know the map Vito, and your guys are gonna know the map Vito as we head on down over onto that screen, just as my producer called it. The map Vito screen will showcase you exactly why I think Breach is gonna be highly contested. It's gonna be Fracture, Bind, and Icebox. Icebox, Breach is really bad. Bind is a place where Breach can work, but Fracture is a place where Breach needs to get picked up pretty much 100% of the time.
Yeah.
This is
And
Breach's map, and if you don't pick up the Breach, you're honestly throwing.
yeah, so for anybody who's relatively newer to Valorant and understanding why certain agents are good at certain maps, putting it this way. Now, on a map like Fracture, there's a decent bit of verticality to works, and the setup with the breach works phenomenally for aggressive picks. Not only do you get the setup, but also on the back of that, you're getting the opportunity to clear something like a lockdown, which is, at least in the B side, a big thing for you to do. So you get a lot of value for money when you talk about breach. And heading on over to bind, that's where I feel like it's really gonna sweat, right? I'm not really sure how much Team Exploit have come and prepped on Fracture, but Bind and Icebox should be staple stuff. This has the potential to go three ways. I mean, all three way, but that can only happen if, you know, Bind is contested. I'm not sure if Fracture is going to be a close affair. From my experience and from my understanding, I think Enigma are going to have it by a landslide. But again, how often have you been given the caster's curse, man? It hurts sometimes. Yeah. And
And
yeah, you got
I was
cursed.
muted. Yes, I got cursed to the background. My microphone was muted. Sometimes I love my HyperX, but at other moments I wish I just had that Corsair headset microphone as well. You gotta check the links down below in the description for it later on. But that's the thing here. Just as you stated, the curse is always going to be real. And it's like that lady in the background that's just watching over her shoulders, be like, I'm watching you. And I'm going to make sure that anything that you say could be coming true or the opposite could happen. And that's why sometimes we just get the most angriest of TMs on our Instagrams. But
Yeah.
that's the real case here. Fracture is a pretty big coin flip. And the fact that Exploit are picking up Fracture, it's a bit of a question mark for me. I understand that you're going up against Enigma. Enigma, they don't have the best track record, or pretty much they don't have any form of track record almost on the map of Fracture. So this is the best map that you can hope for. This is a smart pickup from Exploit, but you guys also didn't have a lot of success on this map in particular. Let's talk about the Gauntlet. Let's talk about the Intel Cup. Challenger Series, there was nothing for you there as well. And the fact that you're picking up the map of Fracture like this, it's just gonna cause even more problems. If you don't win out on map number 1, I understand that Bind is your most favorite pickup. Bind is your best map. I know for a fact that Exploit's best map is Bind. But Enigma, they've proven themselves to be the best team in the entirety of South Asia just through that map alone. No one can touch them there, not even Velocity and GE.
Yeah, so they need to get respect where it's due. We're talked about the map pool. Now let's talk about map one. We have Fracture on board, right? Usually, hey, I'm at least theory crafting here. I'm expecting maybe a chamber pickup. We've not gotten to see a lot of chamber out here, right? Fracture,
That was South
a map,
Asia.
yeah,
Though Southeast
and
Asia, everyone's been picking up Chamber.
and in terms of Fracture, it's also a map where the defense is forced to play a little more aggressively than other maps. So, with the information that you get out of the chamber, you also could throw in the Cypher and the KJ to do the similar role. It just depends on how your comfort is and how your team wants to try and synergize with that lineup. So, those are the kind of agents I'm expecting off the bat. Like you said, the Breach is also a staple in a map like Fracture. You obviously do need that jet, at least in my opinion, to make sure that in such long avenues you're able to not only run that operator, but let's say you're going to face another breach, let's say you're going to face another chamber, you need to be able to get back into safety as well. So that assurance for that first pick and the retreat, that's going to be big. Regardless, we can theory craft as much as we want. I can literally pull out like 3 books, but nothing's going to change unless
Got a
we go
chalkboard in the
to select.
background.
Bro, I have a lot of things in the background. I have even this nice little teddy bear, but I
Hey,
just
show the
hope.
teddy bear on stream. Everyone's gonna love the cuddles.
Aw. I just hope that we get to see Team Exploit and Enigma cuddle and rubble it out on Fracture, man. It needs to be close, in my opinion, because again, Bind,
Yeah,
even
it's a
though it might
one-sided
be up
affair.
for a pick, yeah, it ain't gonna be that easy, bro.
Yeah.
And I can see Excali and Rafiel fighting over the jet, so that's gonna be amusing.
Exactly. It's like, fine, you take the jet. I'll pick a Sova. Yeah, a little bit of a fight in the background. At least they're having fun. But for now, Excali, I do believe there's a high possibility he could pick up the Raze. But I want your thoughts. Do you think Raze is actually a strong pickup on this map? Because in my eyes, I don't feel as though it's gonna be good. But Enigma, the main issue here is
Choose
that
your agent.
who's gonna play the Breach?
I
And
think there
Breach
might
is
be a
very important on this map. Excali on the Breach? Okay, this is something that I haven't seen in a pretty long time. This is gonna be interesting.
an RVK going with the Viper, so
It's
cover
expected.
is there where it's needed, and yeah, it's Shooter going for the race instead of the Jet. What do you think of that aggressive? You've taunted him to be the best Jet that you've seen from Pakistan when he goes whoop, but now he's picking up the flight simulator. Now, what do you assume is going to be the case?
The thing with the Raze is that she just has a lot more utility to give on this map in comparison to the Jet. Jet, you need to rely on your teammates for facilitating a lot of your pushes. And the thing with Fracture is that you don't need a lot of fast, heavy rush executions as much. If you have utility to flush out the multiple different corners, you can just freely roam into a side. That's why Breach is really strong, because normally what do you do with a Breach and a Jet combination? You go in for the flash and dash, but the flash and dashes are not going to give you a lot of significant advantages on this map, and the primary reason why you pick up a Breach is because of the raw utility that he's going to be able to bring. He can use one aftershock, one concussive blast, and just one fault line, my bad, one fault line to completely cover out two different angles because of the size of his utility range. And that's one of the prime reasons why Breach is so strong on this makeup. And in that sense, having that raise to give that extra little bit of utility that the Breach can use to clear out a corner just by throwing a pain shield in behind the fault line, that's going to allow you to completely take over a site without even having to invest any of your own resources, being your own health, into
Yeah.
the matter. And because of this, I do believe that Exploit, they have a lot more of a difficult composition to play. Because with a Jet, it's a lot more simpler to take control and just go in for a flash and dash. You just need to rely on your raw mechanical skill. But when you're playing utility, unless your communication is on point, you're going to fall apart. And on the other note, we did see a Brimstone versus an Astra pickup. This is where I am going to be going on a limb here, and I'm going to say that Brimstone is way better than the Astra, only for the map of Fracture. There's a reason for this. There's a reason for this, OG. We talked about this before as well. Remember on the other night when we were talking about Fracture? I said that Brimstone is a really strong pickup for the map of Fracture, primarily because all of his utility can cover massive areas. And the Orbital Strike alone can confirm a kill. That's a kill confirmation, not just a denial.
So where it comes from, and considering how the A sites stacked over each other, it makes sense with the orbital strike, right? But also contemplate this now in terms of cover. If you have only that Viper, you'll be able to bring about more agents who can bring about different impact. You have this double initiator combo right now in Enigma, where if I'm not wait, RBK picked up the Viper. Never mind, he
Yeah,
was
yeah, yeah.
hovering in the sky, so brain fart. But nonetheless, we have the Breach picked up by Excali, right? Now, along with the Viper, there could be the double initiator setup with this guy. There's always that phenomena of the pseudo duelist, right? Where you're not exactly that initiator. You're going to use the utility to set yourself up and potentially maybe a double peak with your teammate to make sure that both of you can go aggressive at the same time. So there could be that difference being made in those small situations, which do end up netting you maybe a crucial round or two. But again, theory craft, man. We've seen this
Mhm.
be the case, right? We can talk theory about how much ever we want, but when it gets to the server and when it gets to the game, it's all going to rely on whether you're able to land your shots and whether you're able to make your hit stick.
Yeah, that's true. The more we talk about it, the more the teams are going to be feeling antsy. The play people back at home watching are going to get a little bit more impatient. I know, ladies and gentlemen, you want us to jump straight into the game. We're still trying to set everything up. The players are still getting ready, done and dusted. We want to set up the player cams for you as well so you can see all the reactions live as they are happening. I know for a fact you guys all love the cams. A lot of different personalities start to show, and people are going to be dancing around all over. I am really wondering if RBK does have his signature monkey right behind his monitor. Last time around, we did see that, and it was really cute. And RBK, right at the end of the game, picked it up and just hugged it and just sat there. And literally was like, we're going to be jumping straight into the game. Let's see
Yeah.
if we can find something fun here from both of these squads. But for now, I think the fun will lie in the Brimstone versus the Astra. the thing is, OG, the Brimstone requires a lot more communication to play properly. And if he's not Abdur... Wait, Abdur?
Yeah.
Launching smoke.
Who is this? Is this a new player?
Nope.
Oh, he just name changed. I was like, wait, is that a new player?
Yeah, one thing that I do know is for both these teams, it's going to be a new day for them, and they're going to hope for the best. HSB picks up that, or nobody committing to any kind of peak from the B side. And mind you, it's the Cypher setup towards the B side, right? So there is a little bit of assurance before they do end up going for that peak. And they sense this. They hear it. Excali very close to the rotation. And Rafield, he's going to be pushed back by that green shell. DK is slowly going to be able to regain HP, but Rexy has lost control of tower, which means the B side now has to be played for retake.
Oh my god.
And Excali, though, starting things off on a good note as HSB, a little confused and caught between two angles, left himself vulnerable, and RVK quick to the punish. Oh, shooter, he found Rafield with his back turn, and now it's all down to this 1 versus 2. Antidote gonna push close. Soul, how does he deal with this, mate? He doesn't. He ain't gonna be able to deal with that 1-2 punch and bait. Because for now, Enigma, even though they might have lost the first pick in that round, they were able to do it calm, cool, collected on the retake. I've just got to assume that Team Exploit were on that phase of setting up, but they kind of neglected a couple of angles, a couple of crucial angles there, which ultimately led to their dismay.
This wasn't the best of situations for them to try and bring on that from. But I guess it's fine because, you know, the map of Fracture, it's one of those maps that it requires a little bit of time for you to feel it all out, trying to understand how your opponents are going to position themselves, how you will position yourself. This is the ultimate map for adaptation. And the more you play it, the more you're going to learn. And that's what I'm really hoping to see from Team Exploit. Do not get overly aggressive. Take your time. Try to figure out all of these different angles. And with this, they should be able to hold it all down. But anti-holding from A Heaven could just be the difference maker.
Oh, HSB though, with that frenzy, is able to get the Cali and
Spectre nerf!
well, Antidote ain't feeling that whatsoever, flexing as hard as he can. The triple as he holds this from the first floor. Had a good inkling as to where Soulmate was as well, but oh no, oh no. Rafiel has the bomb though, so yep. With the spike, he's just gonna be camping it. Knows that Soulmate is tethered to his position. Oh, yeah, that's the confident jet. Let's hope that
That's just Rafiel.
now, with the credits finally on the side of Team Exploit, we'll get to see something different, hopefully. I really loved Fracture when it released. I used to have this strategy called Sat and Bat, where you essentially just rush yeah, so essentially what you do is you rush Satellite with the help of the Jet Sky combo. You just dash in, try to take that early fight, while the rest of your boys rush through main. It's already far too chaotic, right? Mind you, this is when Fracture released, so everybody was still learning to play this map. Now, I think everybody has understood the significance of utility on a map like this, where you need to make some kind of order out of chaos. As we're gonna head into the buy round, ladies and gentlemen, Team Exploit with the Vandals.
Oh my god! Anti.
Yeah, again, that are picks that Team Exploit cannot afford to give away. Rexy, he's gonna be able to use the information on the tripwire on the back of Excali. They're gonna be playing this aggressively in tandem. He has the flash. Excali can play on the back of the setup. He needs to make more of this position. Close range, the Spectre shreds.
Yeah, the Spectre is going to be able to sing. But at the same time, Anti, he's looking for one more, catches it up there. Not going to be able to find out much. And Rafiel does get the final. HSB going in for the big chunky footsteps. And give his position away. 3-0. And with this here, OG, I can already see this being a little bit of a one-sided affair, because the way that Enigma are taking control of the defensive side, you have to know something, that the map of Fracture is one of the few maps that really does cause a lot of problems unless you're able to turn things around really quickly and get at the bare minimum of a small lead or a 6-6 scoreline. You cannot go on a disadvantage when you are on the attacking side, because the attacking side of Fracture is supposedly the better side of this map. Statistically, at least, it's the better side, primarily because of the multiple different entry points that you can go in for on this map in particular. That's what you're always relying on whenever you start on attack. But if this is how it's gonna go, and if this is how Enigma are holding down their defense on a map that is supposedly attacker sided, you know for a fact that their own attacking side will be just as deadly and just as problematic. RVK though from the sidelines gonna be the one to take down Abdur. It's gonna be looking for more, but King just casually walks into the face of Excali, gives him a kiss on the cheek and a bullet into the face as well. Shooter takes down another, and one by one they're dropping like flies, but it seems as though Raw Fuel, he's gonna be the one to change it all away for him. Here comes the fault line. They have a little bit of room to work with. And Raw Fuel, however, is still alive. You have only a 5 HP, man, and he's still taking these engagements. He just does not care. He's dancing around all these bullets. He likes to take this dance of death, and he's gonna live through it all. And poor old HSB, I don't think it's gonna happen for him. I do believe that with that, it's gonna drop down just a little bit more, with Raw Fuel being able to get that 7-1 for himself. He's been having a really good start to this morning, and you know for a fact that he has nothing to complain about. Shots are hitting, he's able to hold down true, and if you're able to just have this level of control on the map of Fracture, it just builds up and up and up. Now though, on towards from the sidelines. It's a 4-0. That last round was an eco round, mind you, so the fact is, being an eco round, that was quite successful, but still Raw Fuel is even more successful now than ever because of the operator coming on down through. It's just getting better and better for them. Excali is holding it down on his own side lane. This is where the real fun begins, but Soulmate, he has his crosshair placement. He's gonna reign supreme on one, but he's not gonna be able to shut down his second. Enigma, they have it all under the bag. 5-0. This was the buy round for their side, but Raw Fuel coming in clutch at the very end, pulls out the operator, takes a swing, and instantaneously takes down 3 players with 2 players, sorry, without even a question asked. And with that, I do believe that my boy OG is having a little bit of issues with his Discord. So, not much that we can do here, ladies and gentlemen. You guys are all going to be stuck with me for a little while longer until he does come back with his beautiful voice to give us the analysis. But in general, the analysis is that there's way too much pressure being put on by Enigma. And Team Exploit, they're just stuck between a rock and a hard place. They're trying to figure out a way that they can try to push their ways out, but the fact is, there's just too much control, and Raw Fuel's just not missing a single shot. How do you contest a player that is not even dropping a single beat when it comes down to his weapon usage? He's taking full control, and Shooter, okay, boy, the Ares is just gonna be rated in supreme. That's gonna be the first initial kill, and he's gonna be going for another one. But Shooter, he's having his own little game out here. Takes out the Ares, runs and guns straight in front of his face, and Excali should be good for one more kill. But RBK catches out Shooter as he was trying to run on back in towards the snakebite. This is gonna be a problem. HSB from the backlines, but Raw Fuel, he's gonna get away with murder. He goes in for a no-scope, and he's gonna be able to fight it all. Rolling thunder to send the last player up in the sky, and Raw Fuel's gonna be waiting for that delivery. Signs the package and says, alright, time to go home, boys. You're not gonna be going anywhere. 6-0, and Team Exploit, they're dropping rounds like they're dropping in like flies. And now that Raw Fuel's on a 12-1, it's just getting worse and worse and worse back. They need to figure something out here. Otherwise, Enigma, they're gonna pretty much run away with this entire map. And I do believe that my boy OG, he's now back in the house.
Things have finally stopped acting up, so yeah, we're back. 6-0.
Big up, you
Doesn't
say.
seem like, well, it doesn't seem like I missed much, right? And I think our prediction is bang on for what we had in terms of expectation. 6-0. So yeah, what happened, bro?
Yeah, basically Enigma ran in. There was a situation where Raw Fuel just pulled out his operator, and it was an instantaneous breakdown. Raw Fuel took peaks, Raw Fuel hit no scopes, Raw Fuel just did Raw Fuel things, and Team Exploit, they tried to go in for memes, and in 2 situations the memes worked, and the other 2 situations it just all fell apart. A lot of things happened, man. And I think that everyone in chat can tell you the same.
Well, I'm itching to know. Maybe we get to see it together sometime.
Yeah, we have the first half highlights for it.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of things that we need to do together, but a lot of things that Team Exploit as well need to do together, right? One thing is win. And we've discussed this before, aggressive. Now, looking at the trajectory of things, Enigma look to be in firm control of what's ahead of them. So, Shooter able to land that shot. Raw Fuel taken out of the picture immediately. And Enigma, they're trying to play this one aggressive. So they're going to get the flank in from tunnel really quick. HSP, though, he's so heads up. Still cannot get the headshot. In fact, his head's up for the taken, and it's taken out by RVK.
Okay.
Ooh, that was
oh my God, Shooter.
Shooter. There goes the party, and there goes your invite.
He's not going to be going anywhere anytime soon. Not after a play like that. Rexy, though. Maybe he's looking for a couple of more kills. He's waiting inside of this B side, and they should be able to go in for this fight. Anti, he's gonna take a good chunk of damage. Oh my God, Rexy, white swing and a half. He's not gonna white swing. He's gonna Ferrari people as much as he possibly can. And now it's all up to Antidote. He's the clutch minister in this situation. He is the clutch master, but
Taking that back.
I don't think it's gonna happen as easily. And he's gonna be good for one. Doesn't know where the last player is, and King, he can play all the mind games that he possibly wants to. Jumps up, and an immediate takedown. Anti takes a back seat, and the first initial round finally comes through for Team Exploit. And it feels as though OG, you're the lucky charm that they needed.
Yeah, I know, bro. I'm their teddy bear in this sense. I hope I can give them a hug, because they certainly deserve it after that round victory. King, a good call that he made using absolute radio silence until the very end. Antidote, even though he did get his guard back up after that initial stick, no way he could get ready for that peak. And I think a small timeout is due. Team Exploit, they could really use a breather. Sometimes Fracture do be like this, right? Not only in our ranked games, but even in a game like this. Maybe all you need is a small bit of a pause. Rethink what your strategy is. With the way we've seen Enigma play, it's always some sort of aggression they're posing on a side of the map, right? It's relatively easy to spot it out, considering the lineup that Team Exploit has to maybe try and sniff aggression. You have the Cypher here, which will be able to give you at least some sort of inkling as to, okay, the main's being pushed. Okay, this is happening on towards satellite. Okay, this is what the plan is. So, out of the top of my mind, I'm thinking, with the Rolling Thunder, are we gonna see potentially a change of pace now? Are we gonna see something that's gonna be bonkerously fast?
It could be the case here. They need to maybe just go in for a full-scale rush on towards the sideline, and maybe overwhelm Enigma as fast as they possibly can, because currently none of their slow play strategies are working, and Enigma are just way too comfortable in their positions. They're constantly going in for pushes of their own. They're trying to make Team Exploit feel uncomfortable, which is a little bit of a weird thing to say, because on Fracture, yeah, you can go in for a lot of large-scale defensive pushes and just take over your opponent's real estate, because of the size of Fracture, there are way too many entry points that you need to consider, and the defenders can use those entry points to the best of their own abilities just by going in for a little bit of a small push. And if they find that angle to be clear, or that sideline and that area to be absolutely nullified without any form of utility, then they know that there's a push coming towards that A site from maybe Dish, from maybe Canteen. And that's the thing here. There are multiple different sidelines that you can take a hold of, and Team Exploit, they're trying to fight for control on one specific site, and if you're trying to fight for control there, why not go in for a full-scale rush execute? And I do believe personally that not having the jet here in this scenario is causing them a little bit of a problem. Yes, the Raze is paying dividends, the Raze is using her utility to give them a little bit of an advantage, but That's just not the case here, because look at this. Look at how Enigma are playing their utility. They expect a rush. They expect a proper usage of utility from Team Exploit to facilitate that rush, but as soon as they try to do something like that, instantaneous gravity well, snake bite, and then the Viper's wall. How do you contest that?
The one thing is, Raze as an agent, at least in this map, is far more impactful on the offense than the defense, right? Raze is not a character that can run the operator with that much freedom as well. So there's a lot that you lose on the defense that you would have if the Jet probably was in the rotation. RVK, he has an inkling as to what the setup's going to look like. He knows that satellite's a huge viable possibility, hence rotations come up. Antidote is going to be playing from rope, meanwhile Excali is rotated in from defender spawn. RVK, he's used his ultimate towards main and he's going to be playing outside it. King,
Oh, what?
the drop commit, and Abdur, they're going to rush in from the rope region.
Scally sprayed out.
And RVK alongside Excali, ready to make a clip and watch them dip. 7-1. Yeah, this seems like no fun.
Yeah, that was just absolute breakdown. How do we even explain that around by proper terms? Normally we have very specific terms in our ranked games whenever we win a round like that. Like, you know it, OG. We both know it. We do it all the time and we say it. Hey, here's the monkey.
Hey, I love it, dude. I love it. It looks darn cute.
You should put your own teddy bear right behind your chair so that the chat can see it.
Dude, there's some kind of... I don't know. My teddy bears, I feel, are cursed. I gifted one to SK Rossi, man #1 tournament in the game. I gifted it to him, so... Yeah, at least in terms of that, I carry around a voodoo, so beware of any gifts that you do receive from me.
My god. Now I'm afraid to come over to India and come over to your house in general. God damn it. Hey, RBK though, he's gonna make sure that he's never gonna send invites to anyone. Rexion from the sides, no one's gonna go to his house. And up to a random kill on towards the face of Rexy. How is it that it's always Rexy that dies out to stuff like this? I have seen Rexy die like this in multiple different occasions. He takes a swing and the poor man just gets instantly popped in the forehead.
Dude, that actually makes me happy because it's not only that happens and I'm like, isn't that a little unfair? When I see this, I'm like, cool, man. Life, even though it's unfair for everybody. You know, it's not only unfair for me. It's a good thing. This thing that happens though. One thing that hasn't happened is I've not seen that orbital strike from Ampere. And I'm itchy to see what that strategy is going to be, where maybe use the orbital strike towards Tar. You have the rolling thunder to give you entry towards site. So many possibilities. A lot of viable ones.
God, shooter.
He takes the crucial frag on RBK. Was trying to play this one aggressive. King. He makes his way through that orbital strike and it's like Scally dancing a tango with death. Oh, yeah, that was assuming that the last back to finish it off. Good job, Satchel. Good job, shooter. That is exactly what they needed, right? We talked about it and they did it. The rolling thunder, the commitment of the orbital strike, the fact that you get a double satchel into the side after shooter got that frag. So, yeah, everything checks out on the side of Exploit at least in this round. What? I thought that hit.
Nah, it was a little bit too slow from theirs, from Rafiel's side to pull the trigger.
Oh.
Needed to be a little bit faster there. 8-2 on the scorecard, ladies and gentlemen. And with that, I do believe that Team Exploit, they finally have an opportunity to turn things around and just make it a little bit more better for their side. That's the thing here. The more that they're building up these rounds, the more that they are able to just get into a state of mind where they can come in back on their own defensive side. Unless this goes to an 8-4 OG, I think that we're gonna just honestly give this away towards Enigma, because personally I have no clue how you're gonna turn this game around if you don't get a proper 8-4 scoreline. Fracture is one of the few maps where I say that having a 6-6 is pretty much the only fair fight. If you have an advantage on the side of defense moving over to attack, there is no way you're going to be able to come on back from that.
Well, let's see if Exploit are able to make this attack stick, because they've lost shooter, right? Who's been their saving grace. Raw fuel.
Here.
Back.
What?
Okay. Now, raw fuel.
Operator's curse.
Player standing.
I think he needs one
Some milk.
rotation of the
Dim beacon down.
RVK
Here.
Teddy. Maybe that could change things around. Because all you need is a little bit of love, man. All you need is a little bit of love. Which Abdur, he's surely sending his regards. Oh, the jump peak. I like this. I like this.
Ah,
He's
yes.
cool, though.
He got the teddy bear. Sorry, he got the monkey.
Last round before the switch.
If only he can give it a hug instead of a kiss of death.
Rafael, I think that's his way of showing his own affection. Pulls out a big bad operator, peeks a corner, just gives it to him right then and there. 9 and 3 could be on the cards, but I do believe that Enigma, they're still in the better state of things. Buys are still present from both sides, and Shooter, he can just wait it out down through. There's not really much to be changed here. It is a bit of a one-sided affair, but once again, I think that we pretty much expected this to happen as well. The map of Fracture has not really been the best of places for Team Exploit, especially against a team like Enigma, who are known for their team play and coordination and trade game. It's gonna be a lot more difficult as well. The main problem is, I don't think that Exploit, they're playing bad when it comes down to their strategies. The raw fundamentals of Enigma are just way too potent for them to take any control away from. Every single time I see a pick come in for Team Exploit, and there's an immediate like refrag already happening towards Enigma, they always have a crossfire setup that allows them to go in for a simultaneous double kill. That's one of the main reasons why this is happening, and that's why the 10-2 scoreline is pretty much the highest possibility instead of a 9-3.
Exactly. I'm surprised Raw Fuel is even attempting this pick because most of the times
It's
those
Raw
positions
Fuel.
always fault wired, right? So the possibility for you to get that pick on the operator is hard as it is. Although the Blade Storm, oh, he's gonna go down. Did he not have another updraft there? He should have.
I think in that situation, he just wasn't ready for it.
Oh no, Excali.
Last player standing.
I'm pretty sure that was Excali's ultimate, right?
Yeah, that was Excali's ult.
Spike planted.
That hurt.
Well then, a symphony of a lot of different plays happening. I think the caster's curse is already there. A cruel mistress indeed. Comes in over my shoulder and he's like, oh, you think that Enigma are gonna win this? I'll make sure to throw in a rolling thunder into your plans.
Imagine being memed by a teammate in an unofficial match. Lols. Regardless, RVK, knowing that there's very little he could have done, just walks into the Viper's pit and gets eliminated. 9-3
Switching
though.
sides.
And this, the halfway point, Team Exploit, what are they gonna have in the bag? Because it's gonna be a very, very upward fight, right? We're gonna have not only that pistol that potentially will help you secure your run, you also need to play your bonus right. You need to win out the consecutive 2 gun rounds, not minding the thrifty rounds where there's still a possibility for that to be an upset, right? We've seen Raw Fuel on that Blade Storm be phenomenal. He has that raw innate ability to make plays. So
Yep.
for the side of Team Exploit, right now they need to prep for what seems to be an upward climb. It's gonna be a game of endurance if they're in it to win it. If Fracture's already this hard, just wondering, man, what's up with Bind?
That's the thing. Especially with the changes of bind that came in before this double controller setup, it's just gonna get even more difficult. But we're gonna talk about bind later. We first need to address the elephant in the room here being Fracture. So let's head on down over towards the first half match highlights. You see exactly broke apart, and you're gonna be able to relive the moments that you missed out because of Discord acting up. So
Yeah, I'll get to
like
and,
OG, the first initial half, the first six rounds that you did miss was just an utter domination from Enigma. One player, Raw Fuel alone, just ran into every single sightline humanly possible. And he just kept on going and going and going without even pressing on the brake once. There was no brake on his car. He hit that accelerator, he put a brick on it, and then he's driving around Rambo style.
Yeah, I just can't imagine not having brakes and then seeing a wall. That's kind of like the worst outcome. Just gotta avoid it. And ooh,
And look at this, 5 HP. He survived that with 5 HP for the entire duration and then got the kill.
wow. All right. So, darn, that hurts. I'm happy that I kind of got that Discord issue because damn, I missed.
Oh yeah, this.
Oh, wow. Wow. I'll be very honest with you. I feel like with how the Viper's ultimate plays off, it's kind of like a two-faced mind game. Now, in a situation where you're inside the Viper's ult, spamming is so viable. You get a basic game sense of where those players would be positioned to punish a push, and you start spamming that. In fact, with the Jet, I feel like spamming the smoke with the operator works more often than it's even supposed to. So I understand where that came from. Just waiting for the days where that thing changes, though. And Raw yeah, we saw him miss a couple of shots. I'm happy that we got to see a couple of replays where he actually made the hit stick.
Yeah. Rafuel, he's like one of those players that has this hit or miss times, but when he's able to hit those shots, it's just absolutely a symphony of kills all around. He knows how to take engagements, he knows how he can get away with a lot of those aggressive peaks, and you always tell me this, that whenever you play Jet, you either go in super aggressive, absolutely no respect whatsoever towards your opposition, or you're going to play passive and possibly just get shot in the forehead constantly over and over again. You need to show ego in this game from time to time, and Rafuel, he's overflowing with that.
Having this conversation with Crips the other day when both of us were trying to understand the mental of Valorant. So there are two sides to Valorant, right? There's the textbook style on how a situation is supposed to be played out and what the
Yeah.
moves that you're supposed to do are, meaning in the bigger picture of things. But there's also that mental side of it, right? When you take a certain aim deal, when you take a certain position, when you take a certain fight and you win it out, it's going to make that kind of mental difference. Now, if there is any aspect of fear in actual games, it's amplified in terms of esports. If you're scared to peek an angle, 9 times out of 10, even if you peek that angle, you're not going to get that frag. You need to make sure that your confidence is on par with your ability. And hey, we know that these players have phenomenal skill. It's just their confidence that needs to be mentored and tamed to make sure it's going to be at an all-time high. So without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, the second half is going to be calling upon us very, very soon. So heading in to Team Exploit's potential comeback, we have that 9-3 half. Like you said, on a map like Fracture, 9-3 isn't any comforting. You need to have some sort of buffer to make sure that you don't go down the drain, especially with how the rotations play out on this map. Sometimes it all could be just circumstantial. You might not even win the round, even if you make the right call from time to time. It's so easy for the defenders to rotate so fast, and that's something that Team Exploit really need to exploit on the second half, or else Enigma, they're just going to roll all over them and enjoy binding this noted death. Oh, YB. Been a while from since I've seen my friend here, so good to see YB and the rest of the boys being at it. Remember how YB changed Antidote's perception of the game back in the good old days, understanding of the game, the mental that he had. Right
And
now,
it's doing wonders for him now as well.
not
And
only him, but also very young talent like RVK, Raw Fuel, and also these slightly more experienced, Excali on par with Antidote, and Rexy, who have all seen him throughout his glory days. So he's still not missing any, man.
yeah, that's the thing. The way that Enigma have evolved, the way that pretty much Antidote has evolved. Before, when we saw him on Velocity originally, he was an absolutely beautiful entry fragger on a Jet, but then he had his pitfall, I would say. Now he's back, and he means business, but on a separate agent where he can take control, IGL his entire team, and bring them closer to victory. That's what you really want to see, a player evolving from a one-dimensional approach into something a lot more beautiful. And the way that Enigma are playing now, they are pretty much the ones that should be going in for greatness, but they first of all need to get through the iron wall that is Team Exploit. It's still a 9-3 scoreline. I know things are looking bleak for Team Exploit, but we can never count out a team until the fat lady sings. And Raw Fuel, he's playing a dangerous game out here, and this could be the game that he could be winning out on as well. King takes a back seat, but Excali, he's stuck between a rock and a hard place. Where do you want to run? Where do you want to hide, Excali? RVK needs to be the one to dip you out of this sticky situation. Rexy coming in with a massive lurk. Rexy's gonna be able to shut down more. Acting with one and Raw Fuel with the last. 10 HP on the scorecard. It's all done and dusted.
RVK was sitting in that smoke saying, this is the opportunity. This is my moment. Now it's gonna be time I'm making a clip. Nah, that just gets snatched away right in front of him.
And RVK is like, why you do this to me? I was gonna look cool, man. But ended up falling flat on his face.
What else is falling flat on the face is maybe this map for Team Exploit. And I think that even in the back of their mind, even if Team Exploit do end up taking the L in this map, it's a best of 3. A team like Exploit, a team this experienced, it should be fairly easy for them to have a mental reset and play this one as a marathon and not a race. They don't need to be the one who's the fastest right now. It's about who finishes the game first. So even if they do take the L, it's not game over. They're not going to be sweating all that much. Fracture, you mentioned it with the scoreline being this lopsided. It was crucial for Team Exploit to get that pistol round in the bag. Now they're left with nothing but pistols and hoping that they don't give an 11th to Enigma. Well, we can hope all we want, and hope it's something that we've seen work in movies. It's something that we've seen in Star Wars, but this is real life. This is Valorant, man. Nobody cares about hope. They're just gonna take away anything that you give them. And players from the side of Enigma, more than equipped to deliver a choke. Choke as in you choke them, you don't choke. Yeah, that's the big difference. They're ready to deliver that choke.
Oh, RVKs, he started it.
One enemy remaining.
There we go. Perfect choke, perfect finish. 11-3. And are there more rounds meant to be is the question. As Enigma inch closer and closer to that finish line that they can sniff. As it looks like Fracture, it's fractured the hope of Team Exploit in this match. Let's see what
had to give the pun, didn't you?
Yeah, I just want to see what binds them together, man. I hope they don't get split.
My God, I'm talking to you about this after. Oh God, I'm not allowed to say any dad jokes in front of the stream, otherwise the chat is gonna absolutely murder me. But sure, you go for your puns on the side. But for Team Exploit, I don't think even a good laugh is gonna be able to bring them back from this gutter. Soulmate, he does have a weapon in his hand, but if they lose here,
What deleted?
wait a minute.
Bye-bye.
Poison orb emitting.
I think Rocky needs a happy meal. Because he got a gift and the bun is still in the oven. Right now, King, he's looking to start shoving. They do try to play this one a split. So basically what's going to happen is King, he's going to play a little more conservatively. Abdur is going to try and deploy utility to keep them
Oh, that's a beautiful tripwire.
That should be Abdur taking complete advantage on the back of that Viper wall. There's simply no way that Enigma can
Poison orb emitting.
breach into the site without the help of Raw Fuel, right? There's so much stopping utility on the side of Exploit. And that is something that we need to see what Enigma have their response to, as they will have the big guns the round coming next. Although this round's still up for the grabs. That's a Vandal as well. Rexy, a good idea on how to play the situation as he forces utility out of the hands of HSB, finds the transition. And they've already found the secondary pick on the side of Team Exploit. For now, it's numbers that they're looking to fold. And Enigma, they're gonna be on the hold. The rotation from Sat, that's RVK. Is that gonna be A-OK? Oh my goodness.
The favorite gun.
A salty gun, but delivers results. That's exactly what these teams are looking for. 11-4. Exploit just looking for just a little more, man.
Yeah, they're looking for the closing hours, but I do believe that Soulmate getting that first initial kill was pretty much the icing on the cake there. He took that kill, his entire team rode on the momentum of that one. And then there's Shooter with the Ares. I think that this alone somehow has gotten to be one of his much more favorable guns. I've been seeing Shooter just use it over and over again in multiple different occasions, and he's getting a lot of success out of it. Everyone is. But on the map of Fracture, the Ares alone cannot save you in every single fight. You need to use those Vandals and those Phantoms to give you a little bit of an edge as well. And up there, a little bit of a dangerous game that he's playing, but maybe he's gonna be able to get away with it.
A little bit of danger always keeps the excitement in life, but might steal life away from you itself. King, I'm not sure if he's gonna anticipate this kind of aggressive stance from the side of Raw Fuel, and neither did HSB. King, at this point, he's just sitting duck. The vulnerability doesn't make do for Jack, because King just gets decapitated and taken by the head. The showstopper though, Shooter, he's been on point with the party, but he misses this mark. The Rolling Thunder.
The Rolling Thunder just constantly throws any form of a kill that can come in into the wayside. Poor old Raw Fuel, he tried to opt to go in for a full-on spray and then got popped in the forehead because of Soulmate.
Like,
But
he
still,
didn't
hey.
do anything wrong, bro. That's why I feel so sad when this kind of stuff happens. It's like you play that position, you play that situation to textbook, and still you get shoved the door.
Match point.
Then a Rolling Thunder comes him out of nowhere. Let's go! And then he just flies over into the sunset, and then you're like, oh,
I mean-
so this is how I die.
I thought the way you cap it is driving into the sunset, but okay. I think you have a different idea of beauty and romance and all of that.
Hey. The thing with the sunset is that in the game of Valorant, you never are going to be able to go anywhere without getting absolutely demolished on one side. If it's a Rolling Thunder pushing you towards the sunset, it could be romantic. You should have a date in Valorant. It's a very interesting situation.
Well, I just hope at least there nobody insta-locks. So at least Riot is caring about what's happening in the game. Well, at least for now, what's happening in the game is Enigma on the cusp of victory, at least on Fracture. And with this aggressive control, they're opting out of the revolt. That was so well played there. And King,
Timing was good.
in a perfect position to make that Ares very viable. So main, they're gonna push this. They're gonna commit to that execute towards the A side, and RVK is dangerously close to his ultimate. One plant, and this should be the post thereafter. Excali, he's gonna make his way towards the first floor, clear the entirety of the site. This is not RVK going to the plan. Alright, I understand the significance of the position that RVK is in, but also consider this, with Viper's ultimate, this entire site could be a linchpin to this retake, and Rexy, finally, the punish is there on the back of that concuss. RVK, his position, nice. His radio silence is gonna enable him to get that kill on his soulmate. Viper versus Viper, he wins it out, and Antidote finds the cure as he sends in the Venom. Finish off what's left of Exploit. 13-4. You told this was gonna be a lopsided affair. This very well was. Aggressive. You just gotta pray and hope that this, just at the end of the day, does not break the mental of Team Exploit. Because right now, it's gonna be a rejoiceful map one. And Enigma, heading into Bind, you mentioned it. They are dominant on that map. So they're just gonna be enjoying themselves, relaxing, and resetting for the gear up to finish off what they potentially started.
That's the thing here. We know that the map number 1 was just gonna be something like this. We know for a fact that Team Exploit, they just don't have the strategies yet to make the map of Fracture work. But honestly speaking, with their best map being taken away by a team that are known for that map in particular, Bind is an affair that you really don't want to go towards without any form of an advantage. And with their backs against the wall, I understand why they picked up Fracture, but strategies were not there. You were just not able to take any form of an engagement that would have given you an advantage. And as we do head on down over towards the match highlight soon enough, as soon as that is ready, we're going to notice that over and over again as it just builds up. We saw Exploit just running around like headless chickens, no offense.
Yeah.
And because of that, it just brought in a lot of those different problems. They had a strategy. They knew what they really wanted to do here on every single sideline that they were trying to take. And as we head on down over towards the match highlights now, as it is ready, you're gonna notice that because you're gonna tell me that okay, Team Exploit, they're bad. They don't know anything about this map. No, they had an idea. They knew what they really needed to do, but they weren't positioning around one another. They were completely taking every duel on a 1v1 engagement level. Positions are strong. They're holding extremely powerful positions, but if you die out in that very specific position, no one can trade you. They're not playing around each other, they're playing around the map. And that is not how you win a game of Fracture.
Yeah, that for sure isn't,
Standing. Spike down A.
with the way we're getting to look at the replay right now, it kind of shows how dominant the first half was, right? They never really got a chance here, Team Exploit. A lot of X factors also going the way of Enigma, undoubtedly. You also have to give it the fact that in a game like Valorant, where there are so many possibilities, you need to start talking about the plausibility. And those are things that you start discounting, which is what Enigma were able to take advantage of, like spam through the ultimate, like positioning, especially in that round where RVK and, if I'm not mistaken, Excali just popped the hell off towards the ace side. Things like confidence, that certainly adds in, and I really wish that they used the updraft here, man. Raw fuel could have
Yeah,
got
that was
that
close,
party.
man.
Yeah. Nonetheless, one thing though, Team Exploit, I was a little worried for them on the defense duty, especially due to the fact that they lacked the jet.
One enemy remaining. Spike down A.
Of us at this point are a little bit speechless, right? With the way Team Exploit were, I wouldn't even say outdone, because it always was a situation where, it was doable for the side of Team Exploit. There were a couple of rounds where if they would have turned the tail, they would have been in a far more better light than what we ended up with. But sometimes Valorant is like real life, man. Shit happens, and you just got to deal with it. And that's exactly what we are expecting out of Team Exploit. Even though they might have lost map one, there's a reason they are number one from Pakistan. It's because they have it in them
Yep.
to prove that they are the best. They have the metal. The only question is, when are they going to give it to the pedal? We have Bind, like you said.
Mhm.
I'm interested, man, with what you've seen right now. Is there going to be any change, or is there going to be any curveball that you're expecting? Because you've mentioned it, Enigma are very strong on a map like Bind. What's your expectations now?
They're almost untouchable on the map of mine. That's the problem here. Team Exploit, as soon as they do pick up that raise, I honestly do believe they can take over the map of Bind. But it's only going to be for, let's say, 3 or 4 rounds. As soon as Enigma start adapting and switching up their strategies, the fact is their Bind strat book is just so diverse. It's just so beautifully done that, okay, you go in for a very specific strategy. Enigma are constantly going to be able to switch everything around. But let's head on down over to the map view screen to get a little bit of a recap as we do talk about the side of Bind. And to answer your question, I just don't know. I'm leaning towards the side of Enigma taking this on a 2-0 purely based upon statistics and their performance in map number one. To lose out on your own home map like this, it's a little bit of a heartbreaking tale here, OG.
I'll be very honest, aggressive. I've seen a little too much at this point, and I think that we might get to see Icebox. I'm just having that chill running up my spine. I'm not sure if it's a fever I'm catching. I hope not. Because right now it's getting heated up, bro. It's surely a chance for the side of Exploit, right? And a team like Exploit, all they need is that chance to completely take it over the line. Yeah. If it goes all the way, I feel like Icebox is going to be the best closure because not only do you get to see that identical lineup in Icebox, I think Icebox is a map where you require that Viper, you require that Jet. To some extent, you also require that Sage, but it can be swapped out. So there's a lot of things that we might get to see similarly. But for that, ladies and gentlemen, you have to wait just a little. You know, we are tired a little bit. Team Exploit, they're eager as their burning ambition for a map 2 is still left unanswered. And that answer can only come after a short break. So be right back.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Zotac Cup Valorant powered by Nvidia, LG
Exploit, all they need is a small chance and they can snatch victory away from your hands. So if you're an Enigma fan, you are gonna pray and hope that this story started on Fracture, which it did, and ends on Bind. But like you said, Fracture was a situational thing. It's not a map which Exploit play quite a bit, and it was a perfectly timed pick from Enigma as well to throw curveball into the mix, right? What's the trait of a champion? A trait of a champion is regardless of what you throw at them, they're going to be ready to fight back. Now, Bind, a map which I don't think any team is unaware of. Any team would be uncomfortable. It's just a matter of which comforts you more. So, for all we know, this is going to be an exploit resurgence. And these are things that we cannot predict. It's so reliant on not only the individual's mental and morale, but also the team. That's going to be the more crucial aspect of it. The one thing I love about teams like Enigma, teams like Exploit, is they've proven that they can be the best in the region. They've proven that all of their players are on par and they're the few that are the best in the country, right? The only thing that separates these two teams are A, the roster's age, B, how strong is their mental? Because everybody on the
True.
server, let them pick a Sage or let them pick a Jet. They're almost equivalent in terms of mechanical skill and their abilities to put it to good use. The only difference is who's gonna have that team game which is gonna weather all the mind games, all the tricks, and all the curveballs that end up going your way.
That's the thing here, OG. The more we build up the games, the more that we see these teams play it out, the longer the matches go. If there is a best of three, if it goes down over to the third map after a grueling overtime half of, let's say, something like a 16-14, 18-16, something like that, then you know for a fact that your mental's going to start breaking apart. But what about a scoreline of a 13-4? How do you believe that the mental is going to be like that? Do you believe that they're going to have a proper mental where they're just going to be able to reset and properly tackle the map by knowing that this is Enigma's best map? But the biggest problem is, I believe that Team Exploit's mental is pretty much in shambles. This is their best map. Like, OG, I don't know how to give you enough emphasis. Sorry, I can't even speak properly because this is what the problem is for Team Exploit at this point. This is their best map. This is the map they are known to dominate other teams on. And now they're facing off against the Enigma.
Yeah, and one thing is, sure, Enigma might be more dominant than Team Exploit in terms of the game that you're playing outside the server. Now, when you're gonna have a fight, like let's not even say team versus team, even in real life, there are two
Mhm.
options that you have: play to your strength or play to your enemy's weaknesses. And
True.
right now, it seems like Team Exploit strategy is clear. They want to play to their strengths. More importantly, in a game like this where it's about endurance and strength, if you play to your own strengths, that gives you a sort of comfort
False
that allows you
confidence.
to whether it could be false confidence or it could be the right amount you need to edge out the couple of rounds to push it a map 3. That's the difference here. Sure, a map like Bind is played by a lot of teams. Again, both these teams have Bind as their best map. If Team Exploit truly feel like Bind is their best map, they also need to find the ability to pull off these kind of upsets, to pull off these kind of miracles. And hey, it's on the back of these kind of plays and it's on the back of these kind of games that legends are made, right? So For all we know, this could be history in the making.
This just reminded me of the League of Legends song initially. And I
Oh, yeah, yeah, I remember that, dude. That was sick.
it just instantly reminded me of the song. And I'm like, yes, this is the theme song that needs to play in the background if they want to bring this one back. Because Team Exploit, this is an insurmountable task and pretty much a steep hill that you're trying to climb. And to go up against Enigma in such a state, they need to turn it all around, just go in for a full on reset, allow Shooter to just run amok. This guy's been having an incredible day when it comes down to his raw mechanical skill. And if you put it center stage, if you allow him to just go in for those frags, he's going to take all the control away from Enigma and just take them down a couple of pegs then and there. But
Yeah.
OG, let's talk about the compositions a little bit. Last map, we saw the Brimstone come in, and the Brimstone just really didn't pay any form of dividends. The Molotov didn't get much done. The ultimate was used to get a little bit of control over on towards the Heaven Sight line. They had a little bit of Heaven control, but even then, it was just not enough. It didn't pay a lot of dividends, so I'm expecting the Astra to come back on towards the hands of Shaka, which is Abdul, by the way. I knew for a fact that it was Shaka. And on the other side, there are going to be even more problems to consider because with the compositions shifting around, we are possibly going to be seeing the Viper and the Astra coming on down through regardless of any other situation.
Yeah, I was this thought in the back of my mind. So with the roster of Enigma, you have Raw Fuel, who's phenomenal on the jet, right? You also have Antidote, who's potentially one of the goated operas from India. So having that chamber set up on maybe even a bind is somewhat viable. The TP, you can easily TP from lamps towards the cubby at B side. You can be relevant towards either side. Information is going to be the name of the game, so you can spread out your defense and try to play off the alarm board. And when it gets triggered, there's also the viability in terms of getting damage, even on maybe on eco round, right? So much that can be done with that agent, and I'm interested to see what its competitive use could be. I think till date the only player I've seen pick it up in a competitive game is Sai, and in that game he really wasn't able to translate much of that chamber pickup, but that was an entirely different game and an entirely different day, right? Now heading into bind, I'm expecting there to be that raise without a doubt. Again, a lot of utility damage. We've seen what players like Shooter can do with the raise. And, on the side of Enigma, we have Raw Fuel, we have Excali. Both of them play really good raise. Although Excali's raise is a couple moons ago, could be doubtable. You also
Yep.
might see the resurgence of that double initiator lineup. In a map like Bind, I feel like that double initiator lineup is crucial to apply so much more pressure to a jet that's going to peek your way, right? Okay.
Yep.
We're going to get a potential double duelist, and that's going to be on either side. Let's go.
This is going to be interesting, but the breach came out again. OG.
Astra on both sides, though, so I think some redemption.
Yeah, some redemption, but again, the breach. I do not know how I can get behind this breach still. With the recent changes, breach is a lot more powerful. Reach is a lot more better than what he used to be, and he's pretty much the go-to pickup for the map of Haven. And I personally love him on Haven because of the way that he is able to use his utility to give you a lot of advantages on multiple different sidelines. But on the other side, you have a Sky who does the same thing and gives you information. And in Bind, you need to play based upon information. There's a lot of different angles that you need to clear.
100%.
And if
man.
you don't have that info that a person is sitting right behind that corner, or maybe a person is in this area of vicinity that the Sky Flash or maybe the Trailblazer is going to give you, you don't have anything to work with. You're purely using the breach to go in blind, and you're putting even more pressure on your Sova. If the Sova is not able to tell you exactly where the enemies are, then the breach is pretty much useless. You're throwing out utility into the wayside.
Yeah, exactly. So there essentially needs to be some way for there to be information, and then on the back of that information, there needs to be that setup, right? That's exactly what
Mhm.
they're looking for. And this is only possible if they're able to push the defense back and force them at a passive stance, force them to play towards the side. That way, it's going to be a little harder for them to destroy that drone, hence confirmed information. It's going to be very hard towards that early round. And I think that's what you were alluding to here, aggressive. That's also the opening window where you might see that jet go in with that operator. Regardless, ladies and gentlemen, like I keep saying, we can theory craft all we want, but now it's going to be in it to win it. Our team exploit going to be able to extend their upper bracket run on the back of potentially a upset. I don't know how to put this, man. Regardless how I can put this, it's gonna be put in the history books if exploit are able to pull this one back together.
It's gonna be a difficult one regardless of how that they're playing, and this first initial fight, this first initial pistol round is where it's gonna set the momentum and the pace for it all. He jiggles out on all of those shots and he uses the first initial change to the map of bind to perfection. Elevated his head level, he's gonna be able to get away with murder. And Excali! He's possibly will take up 2 more, but no, Excali, he falls asleep on the angle and he's got the biggest jump scare of his life. He saw himself in the mirror and he's like, oh no. Oh god. And then got popped in the forehead for it. But antidote, 10 HP, that's all that he needs. Too late.
Trade though keeps the numbers fairly even. Oh, how annoying is this? How annoying.
And a rat called Rafiel.
I mean, you don't expect the jet out of every agent to do that, right?
Spike planted.
Just Rafiel doing Rafiel things. Rafiel has 2 different forms. He has his lurking form, which was his original form when he used to just main the Reyna, and his jet, which is bum rushing a side and absolutely showing no respect.
Yeah. For now, ooh. Assume there might be somewhat of a turnaround. Some silver lining. Because right now, it seems like exploit, they're just gonna fear the Enigma, man. There is just nothing
Fear the
that
unknown.
they can do, at least for now, to break this Enigma machine. It's put together pretty strongly. It's holding together firm through map 1 and winning out the pistol in map 2. Certainly got to be feeling even more sweet. That's even if it can get. Well, this early push towards a short. Now, it's sensed, fallen back from it, an exploit, or eager to find something for their investment. They want one piece of return, which they aren't going to be able to get. The passive nature of Team Exploit keeps them alive and running just for now. Fivers, oh my goodness, I just faced PTSD. What the hell did we just hear? That sound would make anybody brown their bed. And right now, is the side of Enigma gonna be able to put this TP to bed? I think they are. Whew. Yeah, now on the back of these upgraded pistols, I think both of us have seen far too many chaotic situations to feel any kind of calm in that situation, man. It's good that Enigma felt calm though, because they needed that composure to make sure that they shut this down in as clinical of manner as possible. I think they lost only 1 throughout that entire round there. So kudos to them. They're going to be playing the bonus. Now, if they're able to even win this out, it's going to be a big thing. Other than that, I just hope that Team Exploit finally get a start of their good times.
Okay.
So with the guns, it's gonna be a very viable strategy to just hold passive and make sure that you put that distance to good use, and that's something Enigma are keen to try and cut down. The push from Hookah as he just completely smokes him. The refrags there though, a 2 versus 3 keeps the numbers on the side of Exploit, and ooh, that could have been a big difference maker there though. Raw Fuel being the pesky little jet it is. I mean, this is the second time in the same game that we've seen him translate that position into a kill. And now they're translating teamwork into success. Oh my goodness. They have won out what seemed like a Hail Mary round. A 2 versus 3 pulled by the wayside, and Team Exploit feels exploited for sure. 3-0. What's the rebuttal like? Okay, we have one Marshall up. Gonna be a position where anything going the way of Team Exploit, they'll be happy and they finally get it. A nice pick-off, an early pick-off, cool. How did they make more use of what they got? Not mistaken, the boombot already used, so they knew the presence was there towards Hookah here, Enigma. They still chose to contest it, and that early loss towards Shars means that Team Exploit are gonna double up on these early picks. The Hunter's Fury being put to use, and this means that this aggression could potentially be punished out. Not the case though. Oh my goodness, the HP being so dead low. Shock dart. 3v3. Exploit. We've seen them lose these rounds, which are heartbreaking, and right now, the Marshall, the only weapon that's saving Exploit some skin. Yet again, a 2 versus 3. Yet again, a situation where it might be Exploit having the advantage, but this time, weaponry, it's a handicap, and ooh. The sweat and the twet as they play between the angles and sing the symphony of death. Perfect round from the side of Exploit, at least perfectly the way they started it. They still had the advantage walking in. Oof, that's a heartbreak, man. A clean sheet still remains on the side of Enigma. This aggression towards Hookah. I love the positioning here. As the Raze was tucked away, essentially, if anybody played aggressively through Hookah from the side of the defense, it would have been heavily punished. The rebuttal. Oh, delightful tap. That keeps the numbers again in the side of Exploit. How often, though, have we seen the swing away? Another 2-piece, and this time, Exploit, is it gonna be the same story, rinse and repeat? The double satchel, and holy Christ! I'm not sure if we're seeing Valorant or Uno here, because that was a straight up reverse card, my man. 4-0, looking to be 5. This was a 5 versus 3. And right now, it seems like it's a killing spree. The Rolling Thunder, but
Last player standing.
is this a thought too late for them to ponder? Ooh,
Gone here.
delightful stuff. The clean sheet still maintained. And at this point, just gotta be asking, what can they do towards this mid round that even changes the way the story is going? Because right now, it feels like they're getting punched into shades of purple and black, while they can cut no slack. Another half investment. This time, they played aggressively towards A again. They did the same towards their second round investment when they tried to pull off a thrifty. Oh, the tailwind back. The shorty, it ain't gonna work. He swaps out to a sheriff. That's a little too ambitious for him to make it work at that range. Guardian, though, I mean, it did receive a buff recently.
Right there.
HSB needs to pull off the buff of his life. He needs to buff his muscles and flex as hard as he can. He's gonna be biting the dust, though. And this is looking, yet again, to be an Enigma whitewash.
Spike planted.
Should be the 6th round on the board.
Last player
They
standing.
do have the showstopper, and that's, I think, a piece that's a little too expensive to use on a drowning ship. Just wonder how the relationship of Team Exploit is, at least the communication. There needs to be a little bit of calm. Because right now, it feels like they're gearing up for the storm. And Enigma, looking to end this one quick. Another buy. Another chance. Another opportunity. And the aggressive stance, it's always gonna be recon, but it's a bait coming in. The showstopper expel. Oh my goodness! Holy hell! That leads to people being God-fearing. And right now, Exploit, they need to fight their fears. They need to fight and succumb this Enigma machine, which they simply aren't able to decode their way out of death. Oh no, their backs turned. A 2 versus 2. This is as close as it gets, but it's not any kind of comfort for the side of Team Exploit because they've given away mad deficits. And now,
Revealing area.
Enigma looking to pull off another mad play. Exploit are playing this one split, and they're playing this one aggressive. Oh god, RBK. Oh no. Why
30
Team
seconds left.
Exploit getting exploited? Their aggression thwarted. The B side soon gonna be under siege. Just gotta wonder when
10 seconds left.
the Team Exploit finally start in winning ways. The TP heard, and right now it's like they're catching a bird without wings. That is not that hard. Just need to chase it down. Do make it sound cruel though, you know? Don't chase down birds, guys. Birds like ducks, chickens, they don't deserve to be chased down like that. Regardless, talking about things that aren't deserved, yeah, this kind of a steamroll over Team Exploit. Right now, it feels like the beginning of the end.
Bomb buddy out.
The standard setup. They've been using the same boombot, the same utility to clear the defense setup in towards hookah, and yet again, it goes the way of Enigma. It goes the way of dominance. A 2 versus 4. And I doubt
One enemy remaining.
there's gonna be any more. So close to double digits. And yeah, this has to be Team Exploit slowly but surely accepting their fate. Luckily, they've called a timeout, so it's still an effort being put by them. And in all honesty, bro, we've seen so many comebacks. We've done, I'm not sure about you guys in the chat, but comebacks are doable. At one point, you need to take a pause. You need to take a breather. Reset your mental and disregard whatever happens in the past. Learn from your mistakes, but also understand your strengths and don't let your mistakes diminish what you think of your strength and what you think of your confidence. Valorant is a game where you not only require brains, you not only require bronze, but you also need to have confidence on your side. If you have the outrate, if you have the aim, if you're not confident in your game, that's GG's right there. And well, Exploit, we know how deep their talent pool is. And now, at the most bleakest of moments, is it gonna come to their calling? It's an identical setup. It's an identical play that Enigma have been doing. It's like a washing machine at this point. It just rinse and repeats as it just cleans away all the mess, the push. It not punished as of yet, and that's only due to the silver drone tagging. Right now, with the Jet playing aggressive, I'm expecting a bagging. Has no tailwind available, so even if he does play this one aggressive, doesn't have a safety net to fall back upon, and the Hunter's Fury now called upon. This buys so much more room for the attack to make their way in. The Astral Divide's all that keeping them at bay. The backstab discovered. And this is a pinch that certainly hurts. They try their very best. It's a 1 versus 2. The closest it's gotten. And finally, they're pushed past all the hurdles. Because even they know there's nothing impossible. Had a few obstacles. They came back to clocking like they never left. The weight on them heavy. The swag in their pants, and they got a few bodies up under their belt. They need to start feeling that gangster vibe. That, I hope, instills a little bit more confidence in them. As they've won one round. They're able to string together maybe 2 more. Might get to see that 9-3 cursed core line, so at least I'm trying to be optimistic, man. The patience this time. They're not going for that usual take towards hookah. Although this drone on the back of this operator could prove massive. Oh no. My chest hurts. My heart aches. As it's gonna be Enigma making the server quake. Oh my god. That flight simulator, I'm not sure how it got past the airspace. It gets punished. Of course, it does a little damage before going down though. 2v2 nonetheless.
Last player standing.
A nice effort to hold them off HSB. But now, the sneak attack.
Enemy remaining.
Oh! The sneak peek technique.
I'm too shocked for them.
Indeed. Too sharp, too vigilant, too sneaky. Another round quickly taken out of the cookie jar that Enigma were hoarding all to themselves. Now, it seems like there is going to be a little bit of equality in the holding, although by a landslide. The last possible chance for there to be a comeback, and it looks like Exploit are starting to put the pieces of the puzzle together. Another round where they're off to that flying start, and they need to make sure that the finish is equivalent. A nice trade. The numbers, again, on the side of Exploit. That hasn't been a sweat. Numbers, they can play it. But positioning and clutch, that's where Enigma comes in big. Oh, RVK spots the head. Does not give him a free haircut just yet. Oh! Holy! What? RVK! Not only is his poison deadly, but his aim... Oh. I was going for something there, but I was caught off guard, man. Like, we get to see everything and I still get caught off guard. I wonder what RVK must be feeling in a situation like that. Oh god.
30 seconds left.
King.
Spike planted.
1 versus 2. Has that Hunter's Fury. Oh, alright. Does not have that owl drone. You know, that owl drone would have been a nice piece of utility to have if you're in a safe position. I like this mid maneuver. The Battle of the Sovas. Utility not gonna be used to conserve radio silence and positioning. This is gonna be anticipated. Nah, it ain't.
Standing ahead.
Nice
Last round.
One
in the
versus
half.
one there in the end. We're gonna have a lot of blooper moments by the end of this best of three, man. That is for sure. The last round of the first half. Team Exploit. They've been able to get a little bit done out of what's left out of this journey. The last step could be their baby step to victory. oh God! I saw that flash in front of my eyes like you see death right before you hit a truck. And boy, does that gotta suck. The game plan was clear, but the angles weren't. And the rolling thunder, now they're left to ponder whether if this is even doable. They commit though, and they are absolute in their commitment. RVK, been a savior. He's performed miracles at moments where he's beckoned. Now,
One enemy remaining.
there's nothing he needs to do, I reckon, because he has Anti at his side. And
Switching
this
sides.
has to be a heartbreak. To put it into retrospect, Team Exploit had a better first half on Fracture than they did on Bind. Double digits on the side of Enigma. But let's relive this first half, ladies and gentlemen, as we have together the highlights of the first half. It helps us paint a more vivid picture of how we've come to this leg of the journey. From the get-go, it feels like Enigma had a good read of how to play this attack, right? Apart from that, they also had several curveballs, not only in terms of positions, but also plays. They were able to make 2 versus 4s, 3 versus 4s, go back in their favor and win it out. Not only on 1 or 2 occasions, but on so many. Despite all that, they're allowing the Jet to get towards elbow. Now, that's a position that you normally do not anticipate a Jet to be, especially when the hit's happening towards A. So, having so much chaos happen right in front of their eyes, to some extent, it's understandable why it's looking so bleak, right? Me and Aggressive had that chat about how the mental game is as important as your textbook game. And right now, it feels like Enigma, they're winning this mental game beyond a margin of a doubt. A couple of rounds where it did look promising for Exploit, but that's only a couple of rounds, right? Out of a full half, that is very little that they've gained. And that means that they're going to have very little to work with on the second half. It was an identical position that they found themselves in again on Fracture, but the only difference being is their power card on Fracture was their attack, considering their lineup. They did not have the Jet, they had the Race. So I assume that even on their best possible situation, they weren't able to get much done. Now, I'm wondering if the tables have turned. Because it seems like Enigma have just flipped the switch. And this move by RVK, delightful 2-piece. Although, having his back turned and his pants between his ankles, not the ideal position for him to be in. That's kind of party that I do not want to get invited into. Not saying that I'm an introvert or something. It's just, I don't want to be blown up, you know. I prefer to be in one piece, and I prefer to be in peace. And now, this should be what, again, we expect out of the second half. I'm expecting this to be potentially a quick end as Enigma look to put this to bed. We just need to sit and wait, ladies and gentlemen. The second half is almost upon us. And if, again, you are a tad bit late to the action, don't worry. Me and Aggie got you covered,
Yes.
as we are going to be heading back into the second half really soon, man. It's been a whitewash, so I don't think you missed much, my friend. It's just Enigma playing first in their mind.
It's been a tough one because I personally couldn't have watched any of it. Power cuts are happening, all the technical difficulties in the entire world showing up. And my man OG, you have to walk me right down through it. How much did I miss exactly?
Okay, I think I can help you with this after asking a more important question. I think you were rooting for Team Exploit here, right, on the resurgence. So I'm happy that you missed it. I'm happy that you didn't get to see what the rest of us did, which is a very, very dominant Enigma. Even despite the fact that Exploit got these maybe 4 to 5 rounds where they got maybe 2 early kills going unpunished, they went on the wayside. Clutches, miraculous plays, berserk entries, things that Enigma used to completely win Bind Over. And I understand where your position of discomfort came in prior when we did see this map veto aggressive. Oof, Enigma. The next time I see RVK, I don't think I'll be able to look at him the same way.
You can't look at the Sheriff God the same way anymore. Is he gonna be a cute boy or is he gonna be that Grim Reaper that you never want to get close to?
Well, I mean, who says that cute can't be deadly? Cute is what many consider to be the killer way to go. And this was a cute peek again. Like, have you ever been in that situation where it's so up close and personal, it's so hard for you to compensate your aim? Yeah, that was one of them, and that's something that at least I face every day.
There's not much that you can do to try and go up against Enigma on this map. They have so much more control in comparison to their opposition. And there's a reason why I said that Enigma are going to be the contenders to take this one away. I haven't seen through any of the rounds, but I just loaded back into the game and I see a 10-2 scoreline. Oh god. Enigma. They have families back at home. You can't do something like this to them.
Did he just say family? I think Dom Toretto might sub in for the second half.
Oh god.
Because nothing is more important than family aggressive. Nothing.
And they need to fight for it. For the hopes and dreams of Team Exploit on this 10-2 scoreline. They need to bring their way back. They need to find that little bit of that drive to win that they have left to just push them forward for a couple of more rounds. If they want to go in for a comeback here, OG, it needs to happen right here and right now. There's no second chances, otherwise you're going to be sent down to the lower brackets.
100%.
Face off against an angry full sets who's just waiting there.
Oh, that's
It's
something
time
that
for them to take the
nobody
bait. Oh no, god, Team Exploit. You have no idea what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah, right now in the back of my mind, it's playing. It's been a long day.
Copyright.
without you, my friend.
Copyright.
And yeah, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. That's exactly what Enigma is saying, as they're looking hungry to continue this upper bracket run. Nice round though. At least a couple pulled up by the side of Exploit. I was having this thought, having this prep game in Bind, at least from the side of Exploit to some extent, I was hoping that they'd have a better first half than what we'd see in Fracture. But I don't know why we do this to ourselves and the teams. We just curse them, bro. Screw the 9-3 curse.
Yeah.
That curse sometimes works. The Caster's curse, far more potent, my friend.
The caster's curse will always exist, no matter what situation you are in. And because we are in this type of scenario, it just goes to show that it requires a little bit of a prediction, and as soon as we make that prediction, everything just goes haywire. For both of these teams, though, in particular, I'm going to predict that Team Exploit are going to win just to give them a little bit of a jinx and hope that the caster's curse is going to be there. But all the Enigma fans are possibly just going to come in, and they're going to be like, okay, it's time to run it down, get on his Instagram DMs and just spam him. If Enigma lose this, I am ready for all the hate in the entire world, because Team Exploit, they deserve a little bit of a second chance, because they are a team that can adapt, they can learn and be a lot more better, but it's gonna take them that slight little bit of an opportunity to prove themselves. But I believe that Enigma, they're not even gonna give them that.
Yeah. You know what? The game is ready, ladies and gentlemen. The second half is going to be upon us. Team Exploit, Herculean effort that they need to put if they want to maintain this upper bracket run. Not only did they need to pull off a miraculous comeback on the map of Bind, but they need to take it all the way and win it out on Icebox if it's going to be Enigma going down that lower bracket, which right now seems very, very unlikely. Antidote, RBK is just having some nice snacks on the way. Why not, dude? Hey, Rexy. They're having a nice talk. I like this, dude. Most of the times when I think about playing with my old teammates, when I think about playing with my old team, you miss these small parts of it, right? The fun, the laughs, the joy that you get to have along the journey. Sure, victory, it's a big part of it. Defeat, it's a thing that's hard to overcome. But these are the small pieces of love that will be remembered. Talking about love, it seems like Team Exploit still have a little bit of love left to give to Team Enigma, as their first kiss proves to be fatal, followed up with that secondary frag, a two-man advantage. How often, though, have we seen Enigma claw their way back from this kind of a deficit to then take the dub?
Right there.
Raw fuel. He's giving away too much noise, and that's gonna be costing him here. You can already see they're holding it all down at Shooter. He's just popping all them heads. He's now back in the driver's seat. He's trying to get a little bit more for himself. Antidote's gonna be able to shut down one more player, but HSB from the sidelines takes down one more. Andy, he's trying to survive here. He's gonna go for another one. Andy, he's gonna be able to take down 4, but Shooter comes in from the back and is gonna be able to get that final frag off. Oh my god, that was a little bit too close for comfort. Antidote, you nearly got away with murder.
I mean, I'm not sure if Antidote took any lessons with the scissors, but darn, he could be a good barber. Nice headshots and nice haircuts that he did send out there. Almost got this clutch, and considering the way this game was going, I was ready to just throw my chair back. Because if that was a clutch, yeah, bro, I think I'll be charging just a little bit extra for my sanity, let alone, you know, whatever we do on the side.
This was a rough one for them, man. Insanity. Sanity. I don't think I have anything left. And oh my god, Excali. Okay, my brother.
Ah, the pain.
He dodges the goddamn boom bot and then runs into
Wait,
it
they
and
got
then
the
gets a kill with the grenade. What is happening? You were talking about insanity, and I think it's working. And Excali with only, what? How much HP does this man have? He has nothing. He has nada, and he's still getting away with it. Excali actually finds a kill with that HP as well. What? No. No, just no.
So right now what I'm doing is I'm opening my English books of idioms. And I'm trying to find words which help me cap my emotions. Because right now what we're seeing is dominance, no cap. The defense gonna rotate in, a man disadvantage, yada yada yada.
Spike
Just the
planted.
pistols. It's only damage that Enigma are gonna be trying to inflict, which they've already done a decent bit of. Play through the smoke. HP. Not really ideal on the side of Exploit to play this aggressive.
Bomb buddy out.
Cough, cough. Well,
Don't make me do
all
chicken
fun
jokes.
said and done. Well, I'm sure you wouldn't chicken out of it.
Yeah.
Although they did hear the
One
footsteps of
enemy
RBK,
remaining.
and this is a fight that I don't think the rest of Team Exploit are gonna chicken out of. They get this done, secure the post plan without losing a single member here, which is at least aiding them in their quest for more self-confidence, which needs to start becoming at an all-time high. Team Exploit, they are the #1 team from Pakistan for a reason. We keep reiterating that fact, ladies and gentlemen, but it's also very crucial to the story. They could maintain that #1 spot for God knows how much longer, but they will be maintaining it out of godlike place, right? And this has all the writings of one. Aggressive take of Shars, which is essentially already information relayed
Oh, Shooter.
to the side of Enigma and
Still finds it.
there could be that satchel peek out. There's also the nade and the boom bot. Utility though, not advisable to have out in a gunfight. Getting punished, that is
Oh,
a bird
God.
being plucked out of the sky. And right now,
Spike planted.
the man advantage lies again on the side of Exploit. I've just gotten a slight sense of PTSD considering what's happened in the first half. The second half is shaping up to be a different story, all right? Although, Exploit losing
Rexy.
that to a man and the back turned Rexy. He's able to make this one
My
work.
God,
Double.
Rexy.
That's what he's gonna go for. Spots out the last player again in a 1 versus 2. What much could you do? You had that isolated frag. Boy, this is gonna hurt harder than stab. 11 to 4. I don't think there's gonna be any more, bro. Perfect timing. Perfect play. You also have to give it to Team Exploit, right? That almost seemed like it did stick. That almost worked. They had the trades heading into the site and heading into the post plant. Timing wasn't their friend.
It just didn't work out in their favor whatsoever, going in for that push. But Rexy, man, he came in on the lurk beautifully. Isolated both of those 1v1s. He took the engagement, he got the fight, he had the control. But now, in this round in particular, it is the turn of Team Exploit to maybe turn things around. And with this shooter, he's looking to get into a forward position. But what? Shooter? You know that he's there! Raw gets a second, Rexy gets his third! No, Rexy! He's gonna get his 1-4! He deals the damage and Rexy's gonna be able to finish it all off. What just happened here? A full-scale B-long rush, but you don't check B...
Match
Copy?
point.
You don't check Octagon?
Okay, so
OG?
no, now let's not talk about the game for like 2 minutes. Valorant does take a mental toll. It takes away from your sanity, takes away from your patience, it takes away from your pleasure. Sometimes, after games like this, I'm not sure what Team Exploit does. I'm pretty sure they're together, maybe in a boot camp. They have each other to maybe just, hug it out, talk it out. I have a playlist though, full of dart, full of pain. And then I play some nice games on the side, bro. Sometimes all you need is to accept the pain and enjoy your time. But enjoying, that's something that it's going to be very...
My God! Oh yeah, this is where it all falls apart. Rexy comes in with 100 Fury. Kid's gonna be able to take down one, but still it's just not gonna be enough. Enigma, they have full control, they have the sidelines, they have all of the kills. After that shot, it's all done and dusted and ending it all off on style, baby. It's gonna be Enigma taking a 13-4 scoreline once again for the Maplebind as well. They shut it all down, they bring it all back. And for Exploit, OG, you know this is a heartbreaking one. I think they need your playlist, man.
Dude, I mean,
They need it
I'll try to
desperately.
send it over to HSB. It's like, what, an hour's worth? So there's going to be more than enough time for them to sit together, talk about what happened. And I hope that for their sake, they're able to at least make amends where they fell short, right? Because throughout the initial stages of the Zotac Cup, once you lose, you're out. But it's a different story now. Every team that you're going to see from here on out has some degree of comfort. There is going to be
True.
a lower bracket that's going to facilitate an underdog to maybe claw his way up to the throne. And I say claw his way because that's exactly how it's going to be from here on out for Team Exploit, right? There is just no sense of comfort, at least for now. Even though they might have lost both Fracture and Bind, they're not out of the tournament. If they lose their map in the lower bracket, if they lose their matchup in the lower bracket, it's lights out for them in the Zotac Cup. So that's what it's cost the side of Team Exploit today. But Enigma, pretty sure, are going to be feeling a nice high after this win. And let's relive the high, ladies and gentlemen, as we can go through the match highlights. If you're an Enigma fan, I think this was the game that you has been waiting for. This match has been a testament. Enigma, I think last month when they did face off in the Challenger Series, they had very important matchups which they weren't able to close out, right? This in the Zotac Cup, was one of those crucial matchups, and they managed to secure it by a landslide. This not only is a W, but a W with a statement. Statements, they make so much more impact on the back of actual actions. And the action is right ahead of you, ladies and gentlemen. This is not action. This is gruesome, grotesque stuff that I'm pretty sure that I might need a good nap after this to even recoup.
Yeah. There's no other way to sugarcoat it, ladies and gentlemen, because what OG said is harsh, but it's very true. You need to put this into the limelight that Team Exploit did not play to any of their strengths. The thing that we were talking about previously, and I think we already understood that they pretty much gave up. Their mental wasn't in the right state as they were going into their own home map, statistically being one of their best, but just in Enigma, they played it better than them.
Yeah,
And when you break apart like that, OG, there's no way you can bring back your sense of playing the game in a proper way.
what you're saying. I also hope, for the sake of Team Exploit, it might have been their off day. There are a couple of players, a couple of teams that might not perform, might not be able to deliver on a given day. They might be able to even topple the likes of global esports, but when it comes to the day after that, they might not be looking the same energy or the same strength as they did. So, understandable from the side of Team Exploit. Have to give them the benefit of the doubt here. They're number one for a reason. Now, they still have a chance to prove it. It's just going to be way more difficult.
They need to try and maybe claw their way out of the lower brackets, but even then, they're going up against full sense, man.
Oh yeah, full sends aren't afraid to full send. That's one thing I've learned from them.
Yeah, they are gonna pretty much bash through everything and anything that they can get their hands on to get to that point of taking on Kingsmen once again, because Kingsmen, they took them down in a very convincing fashion and almost in a very simple way as well. Like Kingsmen, they showcased to us that they're the better team. And that should never happen, because you gotta remember that Full Sense as a squad, they're a #1 APAC team. They won it all. And to be in a state like this, to get taken down by Kingsmen, who pretty much were the underdogs of the story for a tier 1 seed, it just
Yeah.
goes to show that the problems will start to just build up more and more.
So for the side of Team Exploit, a very important question now lies ahead. What do you know about rolling down in the deep? Because right now they just had a mental freeze.
God
Yeah.
damn it. Of course you had to.
I know, bro. It's been a day of a whitewash for Enigma, with their bracket, with their upper bracket run still being a reality, and their dream, with this victory being far more vibrant. All hopes on their future left to be in a box, which are put inside after we get to take a look at the map recap. If you were absent, maybe if you were an hour and a half late, I think you are a little too late. Enigma wanted to quickly finish their homework and head to the playing field. They're gonna have a nice time now, gonna enjoy, maybe just crack a couple of cold ones and then see VLT play later on, which is gonna be interesting.
That's the thing here. It's just such a problematic scenario when we look at these two scorelines, 13 and 4, 13 and 4, Fracture and Bind. I don't know how to bring it all back, man. Like, what kind of words of encouragement can you give Team Exploit other than just say, don't let this bring you down. You're gonna be a better team moving on down the line. You just need to learn more. Because Enigma, they're still leagues ahead of you. If you want to reach that standard, you just need to keep playing on together as a team. You have the team play, you have the coordination, and you have the synergy. But today, it just wasn't your day at all.
Yeah, I mean, it's about drive, it's about power. They came into this game with an empty plate, so they are hungry. Hopefully, through the lower bracket, they can devour.
You
Yeah,
just have to go in for the last couple of engagements, man. I think that the lower bracket run is probably going to be a little bit more of an eventful one, but for now, at least, the South Asian qualifiers for the main event, it's just not looking that good for a lot of these underdog teams. Team Exploit, they're going to take a back seat, but Velocity going up against Reckoning. I think that one is going to be a real treat for you to watch.
Oh, for sure, man. It's going to be a treat. And it's going to be something that youth viewers have to be a little more patient about in case you might be a little silly, in case you might be a little, oh, how do I put this? Bad with your time, maybe like me or Aggie. One thing that you
Yes.
can do to keep you on time for all these matches is drop a quick subscribe and hit that bell button. So anytime we go up with any of these matches, you will be the first one to know. And heading back to us, I feel like it's also important that we talk about Enigma Gaming here. They've brought about this change, bringing Excali onto the roster. With at least today's results, it speaks volumes, right? It speaks volumes about what this roster has become, their identity now, and more importantly, their confidence. A man like Excali, he not only brings about experience, but having a teammate like Excali helps bring the best of everybody else. When you have a teammate that confident, when you have a teammate that innately good, is going to push the rest of us to the edge of a seat. And ladies and gentlemen, that's exactly where we'll be waiting as we wait for you in
Yep.
the next game. We'll be back soon, sooner than later. So
Yep.
take care, be safe. We love you, and hopefully we get to see more of amazing Valorant action. It's been me and Aggressive. We'll catch you with the next one.
Bye bye.
closer. Should I stay or should I go there? Tokyo, longing for your avenues. I cannot get tired of you. Walking on the streets again, feeling lonely and blue. Tokyo, will we ever meet again? Do you remember me too? I am so addicted to you. Tokyo, I am so addicted to you. I'm hoping what I said could make you change your mind. Though it doesn't really matter when my hands are tied. I'm trying to walk across the bridges that I've burned. My only way to you is gone, the tide has turned. So give me a light, show me what I need. I know I'm blind, but I hear symphonies of your heartbeat. Symphony heartbeat, symphony, symphony. I should have learned to bite my tongue, hold back my thoughts. But deep inside, I feel just like an astronaut. I was in the corner of my mind, got trapped inside. I forgot to look beyond and see the other side. So give me a light, show me what I need. I know I'm blind, but I hear symphonies of your heartbeat. Symphony heartbeat, symphony, symphony. I did you wrong, now that's an understatement. To walk alone, I guess it's my repayment. Please give me a light, show me what I need. I know I'm blind, but I hear symphonies of your